Good morning, everyone. My name is John Phillips, and I'm the executive editor of Bloomberg Media Studios in APAC. I'm here obviously to lead this panel session today, but also to celebrate the launch of the Catalyst of Sustainability ebook and Immersive Hub, both of which are the product of a partnership between Bloomberg Media Studios and DBS. Around 18 months ago, Bloomberg and DBS started having a conversation around small and medium-sized businesses. We knew that they represented around 90% of companies worldwide. We knew that they accounted for about 50% of employment worldwide. And it was clear to us that if we want to realize a sustainable future, we need to ensure that every SME makes it over the line. What we didn't know was where SMEs stood in their ESG journey, and thus began a research-driven partnership. We went to market and connected with more than 900 decision makers from SMEs across China, Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Singapore, and Taiwan. 89% of them were from small and medium-sized businesses. 11% were from large corporations. And they represented 5 industries: agriculture, F&B, power, mobility, and real estate. By connecting with them, we were able to answer 3 questions. Where are SMEs in their ESG journey? What challenges do they face? And how can financial institutions help? We're going to use those learnings to guide the conversation today. We also captured those learnings in the ebook and the Immersive Hub, along with additional insights from DBS and some case studies as well. Before we continue, by show of hands, can we see how many people in the audience work for or represent an SME? Okay, so about the lion's share of people here today. I assure you that you're all in the right place. We had a round of introductions already. We have Kobe from DBS, the SVP of Sustainability for IBG. We have, at the end, Peggy Lim from Skills Future Singapore, Abhinav from Agricorp, and we have SC Auto Industries, Rachel Lee. We're going to throw the first question out to the audience. We're going to flash up QR codes on the 2 screens on the right and left side of the stage, and I'm going to invite you to take out your mobile phones, open the camera app, scan the QR code, and participate in the first poll question. So if the AV team can flash up the QR codes. Here we go. Yep, so if you scan this, it will open a prompt and you'll be able to answer the first question. The first question is open-ended, and we're going to generate a word cloud together. And the question is this: what is the one word that best describes how you feel about embarking on your ESG journey? Again, what one word best describes how you feel about embarking on your ESG journey? And the team will be able to flash up the results in about 30 seconds from now. We see challenging, overwhelmed, intimidated. We also see some positive words up there: exciting, great. Frustrating is definitely not a positive word. That's something that we hope to clear up soon. Intimidated. It is an intimidating journey for a lot of companies, that's for sure, regardless of whether they're big or small companies. Unclear. Yes, this is something that we found in our research as well. Jungle. Not sure what to make of that, but it does, with the reporting frameworks and standards, seem like a jungle. Hard to navigate. But the big word here, the big takeaway, is challenging. We assure you that you're not alone, and we are here to help. We're going to pose one more question to the audience before we turn to the panelists on stage. So again, the second question here is: what is your biggest challenge in ESG adoption? When you see the question on your mobile devices, this is a multiple choice question. Don't worry, you will not be graded. There's no right answer. But we're just curious to find out what is the biggest challenge that you face or foresee in ESG adoption. And the team will flash up the results in just a moment now.
Same question.
Oh, I'm being told that on the mobile devices, it's showing up as the same question as question 1. Challenging. Technically challenging, yeah. Not only ESG, but also pigeonhole. Okay, while the team sorts that out, how about we progress to the conversation with the panelists? So my first question is for Amanav. We want to learn a little bit more about AgriCorp. Tell us about your business and how it is that you came to embrace sustainability in your operations.
Thank you very much, John. So essentially, AgriCorp International, we're in food, we're in agriculture, we're in logistics. And essentially, our main business and where it started was moving food from origins into South and Southeast Asia. And really, I think we've always embraced it at the core of the business in terms of both food security and nutrition. Really, any country right now that sort of is in the news on going through a sort of financial crisis, Egypt, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. We've actually supplied food into that region over the last 3-4 months. And also, one of our main products really are grain and pulses. Two fundamental staples in the region. Your wheat, your oil seeds, your dals. So, and with regards to pulses, also it's a big food ingredient now in sort of the alternative protein markets. Pea protein, especially, is really growing in consumption. And so, we've always felt that sustainability is in the heart of what we do. Unfortunately, what we've seen in our ESG journey is that we can't just show that in terms of our trade flows or when we explain what we do now. The real challenge has been in sort of documenting it, putting up the proper procedures, manuals, policies in place. So that's where sort of we on our sustainability, where we've actually found a bit of a challenge. I guess my mic's not working. Yeah. So just to repeat, so on our sustainability journey, really, I mean, we've really embraced sort of our pulses flow as well. We've sort of invested in protein isolation, in alternative proteins. We've sort of vertically integrated with a food brand in Singapore, Herbivore. We've also invested in a farm in Lim Chu Kang called Live Fresh, through promoting the Singapore 30 for 30 as well. So that's sort of a rough introduction to some of our operations.
And so what were some of the challenges that you faced in pursuing sustainability?
Yeah, so mentioned earlier, I think sort of the biggest challenge really is on getting the documentations, the policies, the procedures in place. I mean, we started from ground zero about 2 years ago. January 2020, I think we tried to embark on it, and we had a huge roadblock, obviously, as everybody faced back then. And I think I speak for also as a company. I think I speak for a lot of SMEs when we say it's still the SME culture is still about the hustle, right? So you're still really hyper focused on your business activities to really where sort of right now ESG demands that you kind of take a step back and look at a bigger picture in terms of your strategy and your policies and your procedures. So I think that's been a bit of a challenge, and I think one of the ways we're trying to address it now also is we have now, instead of sort of asking everybody to sort of double up on an ESG role, we now actually have a designated department that we're starting as well.
And this brings us back to something that we saw on the word cloud. The one word that jumped out to me that was unusual was jungle. But it does seem like we're trying to navigate a jungle with some of this stuff, and it's not clear which direction to go.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of it also is with regards to standards, right? So which standards are we trying to follow? Where can we really adopt some of this? I mean, the sort of gold standard practices seem very, very unrelated to some of our operations, or even impossible, right? For companies where the culture is sort of being lean, being focused on the business operations, to sort of try and take a step back and look at some of the quantify some of the ESG metrics. Also, is sort of a challenge as well to prove that you are meeting some of these standards. I think a lot of companies then sort of get advised really to seek outside consultants as well, which again is another challenge, right? Which consultant, it's not a question of unwillingness, but which consultant do we use? How do we prove that they're actually doing a good job? And that kind of expertise also needs to be built in-house as well to judge that.
Thank you. And Rachel, coming to SC Auto Industries, you've been around for 25 years. Can you tell us a bit about your sustainability journey and how you came to start making electric buses?
Good morning.
Do you want to take this?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rachel Lee. I'm the Managing Director for SC Auto and also the co-founder. Just a brief on SC Auto. We are a 25-year-old company, local SME. We specialize in design, engineering, and manufacturing of a complete bus. So we are actually the only bus OEM in Singapore, and we produces the brand called SC New Star. So not only for Singapore, but also for the international market as well. So coming back to your questions about sustainability, how do we actually get into it? So maybe just a bit of marketing, a quick marketing. So just a couple of months ago, we actually launched our first SC New Star city bus on an electric platform. All right. And I'm also proud to announce that the first unit will be on the public road service this coming Sunday under the service route line 990 from the Bukit Batok interchange, bus interchange. So please support local and please get a chance to ride on the Singapore-made bus. Okay. So back to your question, sorry. Okay. How do we actually get into it? Or why do we think about getting into it? Like just now, the two speakers has already mentioned as well. There's a lot of external changes in the environment, not only today, but it has happened in the past few years. And there is a demand for green transportation today, not only in Singapore, but worldwide as well. Our Singapore government's Green Plan 2040, whereby 100% of the vehicles on the road has to be on a cleaner energy. That is for the mobility sector. And I think it is important that for our company, if we think we still want to survive in the next 20, 30 years, or we still want to sustain our business in the next 20 to 30 years, I think we have to respond to the change. We have to adapt ourselves to that change. Yeah. And I think for our company, we being the only bus OEM in Singapore, it is also important that we are part of the green ecosystem to support our nation's vision and mission. Yeah.
What were some of the challenges that you faced in embracing sustainability? I imagine it wasn't easy and that it took quite some time.
Yeah, I think just like any SME here, I think sustainability, this word is not new to all of us. We all know what is sustainability, right? But I think the key thing for SME is how do you implement it? And then time. Time, I think, is the key essence today. So during pre-COVID, everyone is just involved in growth, business expansions. Yeah. And during the COVID, people start to think. And now after post-COVID, you realize this sustainability implementation become more like an urgent thing. So to SME who still wants to sustain the business model, I think it is important that we have to quickly change. So I think the time is really the challenge now. So I think for our company, when we embark on this sustainability journey, one of the key challenge was we have to quickly transform the mindset of our employees, and how do we transform the skill set of the employee so that everyone is aligned in the same direction, but in a shorter period of time, let's get on it quickly. Yeah.
Thank you. And so one of the things that we've seen is that both SC Auto Industries and AgriCorp had and faced some challenges in their sustainability journeys. This brings us back to something that Helge mentioned earlier on, which is no longer a question of why sustainability, but how sustainability. That brings us to the next poll question. Hopefully we have a little bit more luck. We're going to flash up another QR code. I see panicked looks over there. Are we good? Okay, we are good. I'm going to invite you to once more scan the QR code. We're curious to know, what is the top area of support you would need in your ESG journey? So again, what is the top area of support that you would need in your ESG journey? And we'll be able to flash the results up in just a moment. It's a race. Funding is in the lead. Well, you're in the right place for that. So something tells me that funding is going to win out. In our research, our ROI projection for ESG projects was actually the leading area that SMEs needed support. But funding was right up there. So these are all taken from the Catalyst of Sustainability research that we conducted. And if you break down the challenges that companies face, there are really three gaps. There's a financing gap, there's a skills and knowledge gap, and there's a stakeholder alignment gap. Right now, it seems that financing and funding gaps are leading the way here, but we see technical know-how is definitely an issue, and consultancy on ESG. All that takes new skills, which brings me to the next question, which I will address to Peggy. Skills Future Singapore, you describe yourself as a movement to help Singaporeans achieve their full potential, regardless of where they are in life. That requires and really leans into skills development and skills building. We need new skills to realize a green economy in Singapore. Can you tell us a little bit about how important skills development is for that, and how Skills Future Singapore is helping companies achieve that?
Thanks, John. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So my name is Peggy. Kak Siong has introduced me earlier on already. Well, Skills Future, I think our only business is really about helping Singaporeans, the workforce, businesses as well, to acquire the relevant skills, whether this is in the area of sustainability, whether this is in the area of soft skills, technical skills in all aspects. And we have launched the Skills Future movement, I think it was in 2016. It's a difficult movement. I think sustainability, it's also challenging. And typically, in businesses, SMEs in particular, skilling is, to be very honest, I know because I work a lot with the SMEs, is not a natural priority. But I think increasingly we all know that that's something that we cannot ignore, because of ESG standards, because of, you've got the new workforce that's coming up, and for them, it's all about the purpose of work. It's all about whether they are being invested or not. And then you've got your more mature workers who are also needing to be upskilled. So there's a lot of challenge, and quite happy to be in SSG, to be looking at how we can work with very good partners like DBS to address the challenge together. So in the area of sustainability, I just want to share that last year we launched our skills report. It's called the Skills Demand for the Future Economy report. And in that report, it's actually very comprehensive. It gives a very good picture of what's to be expected of skills that are in demand, transferable skills, emerging skills, and they are packaged very nicely across 3 different economies. So we have one chapter on the green economy. So a lot of the things that we talked about this morning is also spotlighted in that report. So if you want to know what skills are in demand, exactly how you can acquire the skills, because there are also courses that we have packed onto the skills area. So besides green economy, there's also a chapter on digital economy and care economy. And again, I just want to share with everyone, this is a very engaged audience. I see people taking out phone, answering your questions and all that. And quite happy to see that upskilling of employee was actually one of the things that you've identified as, your business agenda. So do go and talk to our colleagues, in Zone 1, I believe. So the Skills Booster program, This is a very special program that we have designed and created together with DBS. For all the audience here, we have a very nice name for them. So they are our skills future Queen Bee, and their role is really to help the SME navigate. It's a jungle out there, and what you need is signposting. So the colleagues at DBS are able to actually offer you, some of this advice, and they're complimentary, no charge. We are going to work even more closely together, hopefully to be able to come up with something a bit more concrete, and we can help SMEs to navigate the landscape step by step. So look out for it, but please, I think we're all here because we want to start our journey. So, go and talk to our colleagues at the booth. Kimberly is there. She keeps nodding her head. And then there are quite a few more. Yeah, and there's Orange as well. And Gwen, of course. Yeah, thanks.
And just one more question. What were some of the most essential skills that have emerged to help Singapore realize a green economy? I think you had highlighted some earlier on when we were talking.
Yes, that's right. So in the report, it says there are 4 emerging domains in the green economy. That's environment and sustainability management. There's energy, resource circularity, and decarbonization, green infrastructure and mobility, and sustainable finance. So each of this is explained in detail in the report, as well as causes that are also already mapped to each of these emerging domains.
Thank you. So we've talked a little bit about the skills and knowledge gap, but as we saw from the poll earlier on, funding is one of the greatest needs for SMEs, and that taps into the financial gap. Kobe, we wanted to know what role, we can share this one if you like, what role do financial institutions play in helping SMEs achieve their ESG goals?
I think traditionally we look at banks as lenders, financial advisors. I think in today's setting, we no longer expect DBS as playing only the role as a financial advisor and lenders. Within DBS, we are actually working on a number of different initiatives to support SME. Maybe I share a little bit of context. My understanding of SMEs, not just in Singapore, across the region around the world, is that bandwidth is limited. Most of us will only be working on not just one, but maybe 2, 3, 4 different areas, multiple heads. Rarely do I come across SME and comes and tell me, I work in this SME, I'm dedicated to this work task only. No, this is rarely the case. So we are mindful of the bandwidth of SME, that expertise and bandwidth can sometimes be challenging. And we are also mindful that we need to find solutions that are practical. We understand large corporates, how they work. They may have a dedicated team of sustainability professionals working and helping them to do reporting, measurements, training in-house. SMEs typically don't have these luxuries. But yet, we know at least almost all the SMEs I've talked to and supported want to do the right thing at the same time, focusing on business growth. So my view has always been, how do we find practical solutions that are easy to implement, almost like a turnkey solution from my perspective? Basically, we plug and play. It runs on its own, but yet, you know what? You can harness the ESG benefits out of it. This has always been our goals, and I am starting to see many more opportunities based on the feedback that you guys have just shared. I can share also on the side with you guys is that we've actually, behind the scene, talked to many different service providers, be it consultants, be it digital solutions, be it sustainability solutions, and understanding their specialties, pricing strategy, and areas that they focus on in such a way that perhaps from my perspective, SMEs covers a very wide spectrum. You could have, F&B, automotive, and all kinds of sectors. From our perspective, these solutions will likely be, in an ideal situation, sector agnostic. The reason I say it is because if it works for one SME, by right, it should work for most SME, if not all. All of you will have different pain points. Some of you may be more energy intensive. So to me, a practical solution is, can we manage this particular area while you invest a bit of time and investment in this area, but you know what? In return, you get energy savings. To me, a win-win needs to be harnessed in order for us to build this long-term partnership. And I'm quite happy and proud to see some of the survey results. It is true that sustainability has gone quite complex, and you're right that a lot of the reporting requirements have come forth, recommending a whole list of survey questions. At DBS, we do require some form of reporting. It is just part of the governance when we are a regulated industry. But we are looking at solutions where this reporting is not just about reporting. We've had work with customers where the reporting is kept minimal to the point where this is your own normal reporting regime and you don't have to do extra paperwork. To me, as a ESG professional, doing paperwork does not necessarily generate impact. Impacts is through the actions you actually do when it comes to reduction of your resource utilization, engaging and protecting your workforce, etc. So paperwork hopefully comes as secondary, but we do understand that it is an important piece of evidence to demonstrate that we have made progress on our sustainability journey. So responding to some of the survey requests, I think probably not too far down the future, and maybe we are already actually providing some of this guidance and support to SME customers that have reached out to us on technical support, what are the kind of consultants that maybe DBS is aware of and have talked to. We've shortlisted in a sense that we know they're active in your market. So feel free to reach out to your RMs and they should be able to connect you with us and we'll be able to support you along the way. We're looking at some more programmatic solutions through lendings. How do we drive impactful and credible and yet pragmatic sustainability solutions for you all? I think for some sectors, I would call them a little bit low-hanging fruits, especially for those that are energy intensive. It's just primarily because when we ask our SMEs to embark on sustainability journey, we want to be able to find a way to craft that return to your own pocket as well. Energy bills have been skyrocketed in the last couple of years, depending on what geography you operate in. We know in Europe, the energy bills have typically gone up by more than 50% in the last year. So we have some SMEs that are looking at also embarking on new initiatives, such as looking at new technologies. I remember I talked to one SME customer who previously was providing diesel-based backup genset, and they were already looking at how to do that for hydrogen. So I believe some of the audience or participants here in the audience will have some great ideas that you hope to explore as the world transitions and making a lot of investments in new technologies. And if you're suppliers to large anchor buyers, and this would be a topic that you want to embark on. We're already starting to see large anchor buyers hoping to work with their supply chain suppliers and see how they could also manage their own emission footprint. And the expectations are there already. Some are ahead of the curve, I would say, because they've already finished taking care of their own backyard, what I would say. And now they're going and look after their suppliers. And we do see that large anchor buyers tend to have a higher level of confidence and partnership willingness with suppliers that demonstrate credibly their sustainability performance. So I do believe that embarking on the sustainability journey is the right thing to do, is a good thing to do for business. It may vary from sector to sector. So this is something that, we're happy to make suggestions and have a conversation with you. From DBS side, Helga also mentioned earlier, we have a very strong focus on developing sustainable finance in an impactful and credible manner. And through sustainable finance, for example, if you have areas, let's say you're looking at energy efficiency, investment and retrofit, that could actually be a green loan from a green loan principle perspective. And you can approach your RM and let them know this is what you're planning to do. And you want to see if this could be part of the green loan financing program. And we'll be able to come and have a word with you and show you how to do it. One of the objectives of embarking on sustainable finance as well is that through the journey, you'll be able to understand what kind of reporting expectations are typically there for financier as well as large anchor buyers. Often, some of the reporting expectations that we have, although very minimal for SME customers at this point, we actually make an effort to make sure that whatever you report to us is actually useful to you at the end when you do other reporting. So you don't have to gather different sets of data for us. Yeah.
So in short, it sounds like DBS is not just a bank that helps people embrace, or SMEs embrace sustainability. It is a partner for ESG and sustainability.
I must say it is definitely the case. You see, I have been in sustainability for well over 20 years, and I am now working inside the bank to promote sustainability, not a traditional banker. So the commitment is there at the very, throughout the bank, and I feel that we are very privileged to work with colleagues across the organization that are very interested and serious about this topic. And so there's genuine technical support that you could probably get from the bank in today's setting.
Excellent. And Rachel, can you tell us a little bit about how DBS came to support SC Auto Industries in your pursuit of sustainability?
Yeah. So in our many years of working relation with DBS, they have actually supported us for our business growth and also internationalization plans. So in our vision in sustainability, we share our vision, and they do share our vision, and they supported it. So both financially and non-financially, in terms of network and connecting with the right people and right resources. Yeah.
Amanav, did you receive any support from DBS or from the Singapore government in AgriCorp's pursuit of sustainability and ESG?
Yes. So firstly, I mean, like Rachel said, that DBS has really promoted us, our business growth as well. I mean, they're one of our big business partners, especially in South and Southeast Asia. From a sustainability standpoint, we actually had a project with DBS in collaboration with another company, DLT, a couple of years ago, where we were running a project on trying to digitize trade flow, which we sort of made some progress, and then it kind of stalled a little bit. But that they always have really taken a step forward in sort of this innovation standpoint. From our other verticals as well, we have some grants with the Singapore 30 for 30 grant as well with our high-tech farm Live Fresh. We're also working right now through our food brand Herbivore as well on a research grant into alternative proteins. And also I think maybe later today actually we have a conversation with DBS's team on green financing as well later in the office. So I think DBS has always also maintained a strong engagement in terms of thinking about how they can fit into our business activities and really mold something. We actually also have some other partnerships with other banks as well that have come forward on sustainable financing. So there are sort of these products available, I think, for SMEs to explore.
Great. We're going to turn to the audience for the last poll question. So if you can kindly indulge us once more. We're going to come back to the first question that we asked you, but with a little bit of a twist. What is the one word that best describes how you feel about embarking on your ESG journey after having listened to the panelists speak today? We don't expect any seismic shifts, but we do hope to see a little bit more optimism. So one more time, what one word best describes how you feel about embarking on your ESG journey after having listened to the panelists today? And we'll flash up the results in just a moment. Those words all look very good to me. Hopeful, possible, confidence, optimistic, doable. I see no motivation in there. Possible implementation, opportunities, accessible. I even see a party emoji with a hat. I think things are going really well. I'm going to turn back to the panelists for one last question. I'm going to pose this question to all of the panelists. So perhaps we can pass the mic to Peggy and then we'll go one by one. Can you tell us how you feel about the future of sustainability for SMEs? Optimistic? I mean, what's your sense and sentiment right now?
It's like a 360 change, right? From challenging, anxious to hopeful. I'm feeling very hopeful as well. We are here for all SMEs. As long as you're committed, we are equally committed. And together with DBS, the bank, through the skilling program. So, very, very looking forward to working with all of you. Thanks.
Yeah, I think there are some exciting opportunities from our perspective, as well as partnerships that we're looking at with several stakeholders of ours.
Yeah, I think for me, I feel that SME ourselves, including a lot of you here, I think we're all very resilient and very innovative. And I think if we really want to embark on this sustainability journey, I think we will all be able to excel in it. And then the fact that you guys are here, we are here, to listen to these sustainability inspirations, get some ideas, get some connections. I think all of us here want to be able to sustain in the next 20, 30, or even 50 years. And of course, I think with the backing, of the DBS to fund us, I think SME can even move further into this sustainable journey in a faster pace.
I feel that it is always easier to start a small step forward instead of tackling everything under the word of sustainability, which is the environmental, health and safety, social governance. It may actually work better and matter more to you to begin with a smaller step. Amongst all the environmental aspects of your operations or social aspects of the operations, find something that is relevant and directly material to you and to your bottom line. And that, to me, sometimes helps motivate and actually start the framework from there with some form of a return as well. That hopefully will eliminate some hesitance and also allow you to take that first step and use it to open new conversations with your customers and buyers. And often we see that even as one single parameter within the world of sustainability as your target, it is actually quite powerful because this is something that shows you've thought about it, you're proactive in managing it, but this is the bandwidth I have, but we know this is a relevant material core to my business, and this is where I'm going to start. And it speaks volume on its own. So hopefully that's helpful.
And if I could just, looking at the screen, I'm going to throw one last question out there. We see some really positive words up here: hopeful, possible, promising, confidence. But there are a few less positive words: unconvinced, no motivation. We didn't expect to change everybody's minds during this one session. But for those who remain unconvinced, who don't have the motivation yet, do you have any words of encouragement or advice? And this is open to any of the panelists.
I feel that it's about understanding. Sometimes not knowing it becomes, it looks quite scary. Knowing it a little bit at a time will make the topic a little bit less puzzling and a little bit more manageable. And I think sessions like this, a lot more sharing with SME community, I think will be useful. I'm going to take this idea back. In fact, DBS here, we've actually reached out to different industry organizations to offer and partner with them to provide sustainability workshops. I know the one off the top of my head, I know I have in my schedule is Singapore Fashion Council. We have already committed to have 2 sessions with them on the topic of sustainability and sustainable finance, and I will actually be the one delivering them myself. So if you happen to be, sitting in the audience representing industry organizations, especially on behalf of SMEs, do reach out to let us know if your members are interested. To us, sometimes the sharing would be quite impactful if it's for one specific sector, because the angles going in would be more relevant rather than, covering all kinds of sectors, and maybe then I can only talk about electricity consumption and water consumption. For fashion, we can specify something. I'm sure for automotive, there are other areas, hospitality. There's different specific ESG angles that some of our SME clients could definitely take advantage of. But I've taken some of these feedback that you have. So hopefully we share some more with you.
Well, thank you very much. Anybody else? No? Peggy.
Yeah, I know it's not very fair for me to say this because I'm not in a business. As in SSG's role of government, from I suppose third party point of view, I see this as a one-way street. It's like you have to go down this path. It's not a yes or no. It's not a choice. You have to travel this road, albeit it being challenging, uncertain. And I hope today what the panel has shown you is that there's support, there are resources, there are a lot of community resources. Kobe has already offered herself, trade associations. If you're here, please talk to me. I'm more than happy to share with you and your community. It's difficult. It's a difficult time. But the bank as well as the government, I think we're really here and committed to help SMEs in particular to write this together. Yeah, thanks.
I think, we as a company, we've probably been there as well before, where we, tried to figure out why we have to do all this, why do we have to report, why do we have to monitor. The general feeling was, I think for a lot of SMEs as well, it's the footprint of the company itself is quite small, compared to the global scheme of things. But I think it does offer, I think everybody, sustainability also means, having a business run for generations as well. So I think for us, I think we find motivation in that, in understanding that these are things that we'll have to do and will also affect us as well. I mean, when you look at sort of the company's place in the grand scheme of things, I think these kind of ESG metrics and KPIs and monitoring and reporting will sort of lead us down a path where we are, a company that can continue to grow as well in terms of our business.
With that, I will close the panel session first by thanking the panelists, then by thanking the audience for your participation, by inviting you to check out the exhibition. In Zone 1, you can see a booth for Skills Future, where they talk about their partnership with DBS. In Zone 3, you can find an interactive version of the Catalyst of Sustainability Immersive Hub and ebook. And finally, just by encouraging you all to reach out and connect with DBS to take the next step in your sustainability and ESG journey. Because if I've learned one thing through the partnership that we have with them, it's that they've listened, they understand your needs, and they are here to help. Thank you.